6 years ago, my life changed in a very dramatic and devastating way. It was mid-August in Georgia and very hot and muggy. Roy, my husband, had not been feeling well. We both had one of those nasty summer colds. I got over the cold, but Roy just couldn't seem to shake it. We decided a trip to the emergency room was in order. His immune system had been weakened by all of the anti-rejection medications from his heart transplant 10 years earlier. So we were afraid that the cold had turned into pneumonia. We were not overly concerned. This was just a minor setback after everything else that he had been through over the years. And we thought this was no big deal. Sure enough, our suspicions seemed to be confirmed. After a chest x-ray, the ER doctor told us that it was most likely pneumonia. This was on Monday evening, August 13th. It was decided that he be transferred to St. Joseph's Hospital that night. His cardiologist wanted to oversee his treatment. On Tuesday morning, an endoscopy was ordered for Wednesday morning to determine the exact type of pneumonia it was. Something went terribly wrong during the endoscopy. A priest came out to the waiting room to inform me that something had happened during the procedure and that they were transferring him to the CCU. I was escorted to the CCU waiting room where I waited. They had to stabilize him before I was allowed to see him. When I was finally permitted into the CCU to see him, he was on a respirator and unconscious. Up until this point, I had been given no information as to exactly what had happened. The pulmonologist finally came to see me, and I was informed that what we thought was pneumonia was actually lung cancer, and that the endoscopy had caused it to spread to the rest of his body. On Friday, August 17th, I was told he only had a few weeks to live. I was also told that I needed to make the decision of keeping him in the hospital or transferring him to a hospice. On Saturday, August 18th, my daughter and I made a trip to Cartersville. We made the arrangements to have him transferred to the hospice in Cartersville on Sunday morning, August the 19th. On Sunday morning, shortly before the hospice arrived to transfer Roy, he passed away. In less than a week, what we thought was no big deal became the worst week of my life. The next several weeks are still kind of a blur. With Roy's passing, I had lost my identity. I no longer knew who I was. I finally went back to work. I knew I didn't want any more changes in my life. I was content to just go through the motions of everyday life. That was exactly what I did for the next 2 years. I just went through the motions of living. However, More changes were just around the corner. When the bottom fell out of the economy, I was directly affected. I lost my job like so many others. I was already suffering from a very low morale, and the thought of trying to find a new job was terrifying. I soon discovered that there were no jobs. Having no real marketable skills, and with the encouragement of my daughter, I decided it was time for a major change in my life. I decided to go to college. I have taken charge of my life again. Today, the mask I wear is that of a student. I am redefining my identity.